interesting to me that I've covered these roundtables since they began here, and the world's changed so much so fast. And I was just wondering how your approach is to the show as everything's moving so rapidly, and reality is reflected.
You run this out.
Well, the world is somehow catching up in a weird way to our show. We started making this show. I started this journey 11 or 12 years ago. We're just doing our thing. We're just, we're adapting this show, and but it's troubling at the very least. But we feel a responsibility more than ever to make sure we're hitting the right notes, and we're not writing to what's happening in the world, but obviously it's an anti-fascist show. It's an anti-fascist novel, and so I think more than ever, it's a really important show to be making.
No, I mean we've talked because this show, unlike particularly many TV series that we've done, and it was the first sort of binge show we've ever done. We can't really write to the currency of politics or social movement because, this particular season was written a year and a half ago, and has been in the can since December, basically. So, in some ways, it's something we observe more. But there is, since the fodder for this show, in terms of character, in terms of story, is so rich and complex naturally. It's not the kind, and we're born from such intense source material. It's not something we really need to reach into our world so much as the fact that they are starting to find sort of parallel reverberations is unsettling. But in many ways, there is such a richness for us to explore inside of our story's reality that's really where we relate.
What are some of the challenges? And now it looks like you're working past the books. There must be a huge challenge, sort of like Game of Thrones, with working past the books as well. What are some of the challenges?
Well, I don't think the plotting in the book was ever all that central to the stories we were telling from the very beginning.
They were very intimate stories in the book.
They are. It's more a contemplative sort of book. It's not plot driven at all. So that had to be invented for the most part. The engine had to be invented. But we do continue on with the characters, obviously. We shot probably most of the material of the book in the first season, and some in the second one once we brought in Abinson and that. So as long as we continue, to make this show in the spirit of the book, which is an anti-fascist novel, as I said, I think we're doing a great job. There are, in season 3, 2 chapters that were part of an unfinished sequel that my dad wrote, and we utilized some big ideas from it for season 3, which we're excited about.
But that's what's been extraordinary, frankly, working as a great partner with Issa, but also from the beginning there was so much latitude in terms of choices we could make character-wise. Obviously we have major characters that weren't in the book to begin with, but it was always sort of aggressive and hearty debate that Issa was always very receptive to, and making sure we kept sort of the spirit and the overall thematic intention of the book. But there was a lot of latitude for the writers to really explore, and it was essential if we were going to have multiple seasons for a show like this.
Sure.
Are we going to see any more of the side characters? So, started off with mostly Frank, Juliana, John Smith, and slowly the side characters have become more integral into the plots. Are we going to see any more of that moving in, especially with the resistance rising now?
By side characters, do you mean Childen and Ed?
Yes.
It's funny because I don't consider them side characters because they're so central.
They're a bit more side compared to the main characters.
They maybe just don't have as much
recurring.
screen time. Yes.
Very much so, and then
Yes.
there's a new character as the resistance rises that gets introduced in season 3, in the Jason O'Mara character. And even as we're reaching forward into season 4, that world of our ensemble is transforming, I'll say. It's not just expanding, it's transforming.
Childen and Ed have a particularly interesting and entertaining journey.
In season 3.
In season 3.
Yeah.
And this will be our last question, guys.
Can you talk a little bit about the challenge of, because as I understand, this season is going to be much more into the science fiction. We're going to see more of the alternate realities. So kind of keeping the main story grounded, but showing these other worlds and the way that they play out into the story.
Well, the framework that we've set up, the science fiction, it's not about, the show is not about the science fiction. But I think the framework we've set is in service to the characters. When you see it, you'll understand it all fits together. I don't see it as terribly difficult. It gives us some interesting ways of telling the stories, a little opportunity to consider other things. But that's not what the show's about. And once you see 3 and then you see what we're doing in 4, you'll understand that that is a framework for something that's happening with our characters. So it's necessary in terms of telling that story. Does that answer your question?
And it's interesting in a story such as this, where the stakes are so extraordinarily high for these characters, to play through this notion, this sliding doors notion of what would transpire if a different choice was made, and what values do I sort of live by in this circumstance. The intense reality of that in some ways makes the necessity, if not the value, of this kind of these alternate explorations all that more character revealing, which is I think what Issa was focusing on.
Thank you for articulating that.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very